Hi everyone. Right, so I've been quiet for a couple of weeks since the OLL 2022 show, and lots of people are asking me when I'm going to launch the Kickstarter. So I want to explain there's some changes going to take place. Now, why are the changes being taken place? So basically, I thought I was at a place where I could release a product or release the Kickstart, and then while I was going along doing the designs, and we could do testing and that kind of thing, and get tweaks to the firmware, etc. It's become clear that was not a good strategy. So the reason for that is, as some of you may or may not have been aware, I took the monitors to Neil at RMC. He was going to do his usual fantastic support us with the project and do a review and an explanation and an interview. Sadly, he's been absolutely wonderful, and he's a seriously classy guy. He's also really, I love honesty. Trust me, I really love honesty. And he basically, after a couple of days, he decided he wasn't happy to do a review that may be negative. Now, obviously that took me aback, because I've just been at the OLL show, and hundreds of people saw the monitors and loved it. But I think this is down to me. I think this is my responsibility. I think the problem is that I've kind of gone into this in the mindset of like a case. Let's make it do as much as it can, and try it so that you've got this monitor. Obviously, the main thing about the product is the case itself, a massive, about half the value of the project, or the value of the product, which again I'm not releasing the price yet, is in the case itself. Nothing to do with the panels, controllers. So I don't think I communicated that very well. And so I've stepped back. Now, the one thing that I think people have been of the opinion is, I'm not sure about Neil on this. Again, as I said, he did some tests and he was having a few things he was unhappy with. And so I'm looking into these issues. But my concern is that this is the bit that I have not communicated well. It is not, never has been, never will be a CRT replacement. Period. I'm going to get hung from the ceiling for saying this, but this is a CRT. Okay. But don't run off yet, because I've got something for you to see after I've shut up. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going back to the drawing board, and I am doing more. My thing was, I wanted to put as many connections as possible. But one thing it has thrown up, interestingly, which you're not going to see today, but one of the things, I'll give you an example. I bought one of the pieces of retro kit I bought is the Dreamcast, and you're going to see a demonstration of that after I finish talking. And in 50 hertz composite, which you're going to see, okay, looks great. I mean, but one thing I noticed, when it was in 60 hertz on composite, or if it was on VGA in 60 hertz composite, for some reason, the controller board that I picked at the moment for this stage has a problem with scaling, and I've actually nailed this down to being, when it's run at 60 hertz, it seems to make it tall. And I'm now talking to the firmware people, because the firmware, they will customize for me, but this I'd not spotted, and so that was an issue. Now the other thing comes into the image. Now my personal feeling is, and I'm doing this video so you can get a feel for it, that this panel is not a cheap panel, but it's a good quality panel. The only thing at the moment is, and again you're going to see this, it's going to become obvious, it's very hard to get, everyone wants 0 second lag, which these are 0 second, because of the way they work. You know, it's nothing special, it's just the way they work. The image comes in, it's fired up by photons onto the front. Whereas with modern panels, they have to go through computer circuitry, etc., and you get a delay. Now, I've been trying for ages to get a lag tester, and I finally managed to track one down. They weren't in stock before, but I managed to get one. It's an HDMI one, so it's not perfect, but at least it gives me something to go on. So the actual lag, I've already put pictures, but I'll probably display a picture to give you this. This is, I originally showed 18.8 milliseconds. Now that's from when the picture hits the top of the display. Okay, forget the bit drawing down, because that's the same on pretty much all displays, how fast it's going to draw. But the actual bit when it hits the top of the display is the crucial bit. And I hadn't, when I did the last picture, 18.8, I mean, I'm really talking about proper milliseconds. But I did another test yesterday, and when I put it right to the very top, it was 17.8, I think. So the lag on this, and I will include a picture of this, but the lag between the picture disappearing from the generator, the computer, the games machine, whatever, to being starting to be displayed is 17.8 seconds. It's milliseconds, not 8 seconds. Where these are 0, okay? And so of course it's always good on these. The trouble is you can't buy CRTs, and apparently I think there may be a company that's apparently doing them, but you know, most people have panels now. When you get into the areas of this now, for example, you can't see it out of shot here. I've got a Philips 16:9, and so a lot of people, but panels can do, like that one will do 1.7 milliseconds, which is incredible, because I've been going around testing everything. My TV downstairs is 65 milliseconds, which you can actually feel, which is why I won't play a game on it. But this one's 1.7, which is like almost CRT performance. The problem is, the whole point of this project is to make a 4:3/5:4 aspect ratio panel display, in a case that is sympathetic to our old machines, and so it looks good with them. And that is because otherwise you can just go out and buy any monitor you like. If you want low lag, this, you know, as I said, I paid about 120 quid for this Philips, and it's at 1.9 milliseconds. So if that's what you want, by all means go off and get it, and I'll even give you the link if you want it. But of course this one has a 17.8 millisecond lag on it, and so that's, to me, I hadn't even noticed it, to be honest. I pressed the button and it jumps. But you are going to notice this, as I said, as soon as I shut up. There's a recording I've made of this, all through. So basically going from the Dreamcast to this setup, so you can see it. And you'll see these two displays fire off quicker than that one, even though the cable routing, the composite, it's all composite, that bit. In fact, this is composite as well. It's the only way I can actually display this. So the composite's going in from my Amiga 1200, as you can see, it's on here. That goes into here. It's nice and stable, isn't it? What do you think? That's because it's got circuitry on board, and it stabilises the signal. So you could actually, if I'd had this back in the day, I'd have been over the moon, because this is what I used to deal with, right? Because I didn't play games back in the day, and I play games now to entertain my children. So, but you can see that this is what I had to deal with in the old days, which is why I always dreamed of something like that. Anyway, beside the point. Now the other thing was, let's get the routing. So it goes into here, composite, and then from there I have an output on the board, which goes into my Sony PVM, which then has an output, which then goes into this. It's not processed, it's straight through, and you can tell that because these fire before that does. Okay, so that's why this is set up this way. And what it means is, now for general usage, I mean, if you put RGB, which will work on this monitor, it will work on both of these, but I can't daisy chain them, so you can't see the difference. But obviously it looks sharper, there's no doubt about that. But So composite, I mean, I think that's almost, to be honest, I think that's pretty much usable, which I think is fine. Anyway, so if you're doing this kind of work, you wouldn't want, you don't want CRTs. What you want is something like this, okay? Or you want an RTG system, or you want to run it at 1024, or you want to run it at 1280 by 1024, that kind of thing. We've moved on from these graphics for actual productivity work. But if you want to run a demo, this is where I may have to reduce the volume because the speakers are quite loud on the monitor. Right, let me drop that down and make sure you can see this. Actually, the Sony's a little bit on the. Let me just turn Sony up a bit. There you go. Turn this up a bit. This adjustment is purely because it's the camera that's recording. As I've said, I'm recording at 50 frames per second, so these look okay. You might get the odd line that rises very slowly up. Let me just get this right. Turn the colour up a little bit. Here we go. So as you can see, they'll work fine. The composite processing inside the controller board does, I think, a pretty good job, and so most things that you're going to plug in. The one thing, as I said, if you plug in a 60 Hz signal, it seems to scale it vertically, which was a problem which I've spotted since I got that, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And having that means that we've now got it. I know what it is, so we can get it fixed. Let's turn down the brightness a little bit. It's a little bit burning out. There we go. It's very hard to get this right for the camera. But as you can see, so back in the day, I would have loved the CRTs are absolutely fantastic for gaming because they're non-interlaced. That's the key phrase. They're non-interlaced signals, so 240p to 88p, and they look absolutely wonderful. Now they give a nice warm colour, and there's a lot of charm in CRTs. Okay, and I understand people's fondness. I totally do. And for a lot of people, they like the idea of scaling down to 240p modern games, which again, it gives it that look if you like that kind of thing. But what I'm trying to do is give it so that you can just plug those consoles into the monitor with connections are not available on monitors these days. And that's the concept, the aim. Right, so you can see that. Anyway, so that's that. So you can see they both look pretty good. This is obviously just slightly behind 17.8 milliseconds, to be honest. Right, let's kill that. Okay, let me just make sure you can still see them. Yeah. Right, so what you're about to see in a second is the same thing, but coming from the Dreamcast, and it's running a game I bought from my little boy, Sonic Adventure, the original one, because the new one, for some reason, is about 50-60 quid. So it was just for testing. But you can see that, and I've tried to match the settings across the lot of them. I actually set it up so that it was a little bit, but it was too dark. I had to try to. So there is a difference. The only real difference I can see personally is you'll notice the colour on these two. It's probably a profile thing from the panel, but and I don't know if it's slightly greener. But it's a slightly warmer. You'll see. Make your own mind up. Anyway, I tried pushing the green and changing the profile, but couldn't quite get there. But I'm sure there's changes we could probably do. But that's because you've got these sitting here. Now, bear in mind this is a 30-year-old monitor, so this is a little bit faded nowadays. The sharp obviously is fantastic. Still looks good. So, but when you come to comparing the quality, I suggest you compare. You compared my panel to the Sony because it's still in really good condition, and the colours look everything looks really nice on that. That's why I actually had it the other way around, and I've moved this. This one's, as I said, this has been used a lot, and so she's a bit old and a little bit, but it still looks nice. But as I said, looks great in like 240p, 288p. Right, so on the 12th of May, and I'm going to put the dates on the screen. I've got two. The reason for doing this is so you can see in public and make your own mind up, and then share your experience. So I'm taking it to the Greenford Computer Club 12th of May in the evening, about 7:30. He's going to take this setup along. You can bring your own along, and we'll plug yours in, and then I'll make notes of where we've got problems, and if it's something I need to address, then what I'll do is I'll go and buy one. Then I suppose let's talk about the Kickstarter. Yes, the Kickstarter's postponed. No, it's not stopped. But it is postponed because I want to make sure that people are aware. So we're going to do a chart. So with a video sample. So like you've seen that. Like you're going to see in a minute. I'm going to do it so that whatever console, as we get the consoles for testing, we'll do this setup and record it in like this controlled fashion. And so you can see what you're going to get and what the difference is going to be. I think that's really important. I can't do that for every single console and every single computer out there. There is a hell of a lot of connectivity on the back, but that is optional. Now it's also very important to understand the basic machine comes with VGA, HDMI, composite, a couple of composites, which you're going to see today, composites and component. The component is, as I said before, limited. It's only interlace, so you can't play games on it. But that's where the upgrades come in. Now, the other thing is what I'm going to probably change now is the way I explain this to people. In the, it's going to probably change to being, I'm selling you and this might sound stupid to some people, but not to others. I'm going to sell it so that the Kickstarter is going to be for the case, all right, and the modularity and everything about that. And then once the Kickstarter is complete, then you will pick what panel you want to put, what panel you want either us to put in or what you're going to put in. And then one of the reasons, some people have asked me, can I supply the case so they can put their own panel in? Which, yeah, this is what give me the idea. And the other thing is it takes the onus off, so people understand that the panel is such a small part of cost, especially if you put a Jeep panel in. So that's how the Kickstarter is more than likely going to be pushed now, so that people understand that what you're paying for is the case, the look, the modularity, the expandability, okay, and then you'll choose, do you want the 17-inch, do you want my choice of 17-inch panel, do you want my choice of 19-inch panel, and also there is one potential 4.3 panel that has a 5 millisecond lag time. Oh, it's response time technically. So I'm trying to get hold of one, and there's only one. I mean, there's thousands of panels. It probably is thousands of panels actually. There is, but finding 4.3/5.4 panels. That I've only found one, and I go to a site and I'll probably put a link in it so you can go and play yourself. And you'll see there's only one. It's a 17-inch, 12/8/1024, which is 5.4. It's got a 5 millisecond response time. I believe that may be greater grade, but we'll see. Hence, I'm trying to get one, and that may be an option. My concern is that one of the great things about this panel is because it's IPS. You have if I stand over here, you get a fantastic view. It doesn't change. It's just really good quality. Whereas on this other panel, the angle viewing is not as good. And I need to check the dot pitch and the quality of the pixels. But if that's what people want, if they want the very low latency, then I think that will probably halve the latency. But you're never going to get down to like this panel here, which is 1.7, because they don't make them. Oh, if you know where they are, I'm all ears. Trust me, because I'm looking everywhere for them. But the reality is, have to work with the panels and controllers that you can buy. If you're going to do this kind of thing, like any other manufacturer, you can only build to what you can get hold of. I'm seeing a specialist next week, a special panel maker that we're looking into. Now, this is from a discussion that I had with Neil and Richard, his colleague from Heba, and they've been absolutely fantastic. Even though he didn't want to run a review, I know why he did it. He didn't want to put out a negative review. And there is a video on. I have no problem knowing this, because again, I appreciate solid feedback, because it made me aware that I had to buy more hardware and I had to do more public testing before I released this. So it was good. It was a shot in the arm for that, because I realised that I've actually got to do more testing. And so they've been absolutely wonderful. Now Richard put me onto a company who specialise in panels. I'm looking for something that's lightning fast with great quality. It will cost a packet. Yeah. So there may well be there's an option for a modern panel with very low latency and have all the things that you may want if you're looking for that side of it. Some of the games I've spoken to have said 18 millisecond latency is not a problem, because you just get used to it. And as I said, I couldn't even notice it personally, but I'm not got them senses. But anyway, let's leave it there. I wanted to be now. I'm doing a live stream tomorrow evening. I've missed it, as I said, for a couple of weeks. Feel free to join in. There'll be a link on the Facebook groups. But now what I'm going to do, hand you over, and I'm going to put this on so you can watch the my Dreamcast in composite. Remember, between the three, and see what you think. And then if you think, well, it's not bad, then by all means come along and have a look personally, because that's the only way you can do this. See it in the flesh, see what you think, and see if you can see what we're trying to achieve here. Because unfortunately, the thing has been here, the huge flexibility that I've made into this system has actually turned into a huge complexity. And that's one of the things that I'm looking to try and improve on. From the marketing, the education side, there is so much you could do with this. You could put a computer in it. You can put so much there to do. I think has made it. I'm not saying it too complex for Neil, but I think it's for other people. It was. I think it's some people are going to get a little bit overwhelmed by it. So, hence the trying to clean up the messaging. I think that's the key thing. So sort out the messaging before I launch the Kickstarter. Sort out these firmware issues with the scaling, because the scaling is an issue on the controller. But apart from that, I'm still confident in the product, and I'm going to push it through to the Kickstarter as soon as I think it's now ready. And I'm just literally going to launch the Kickstarter, and we'll go from there. But hopefully you'll get a chance to come along, have a look, and see what you think. Anyway, thanks for taking the time if you got this far. I can't believe I talked this much. But I always want to explain my thinking. But there you go. All right, thanks very much. Hope to see you in the next couple of weeks. I would just have a quick look at the game.
Select a memory card. Select a file. Select a character.
Let's get him! Huh? What? Tails? Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah! Tails! Now, what am I gonna do with you?
Rubbish. Right. I think that'll do anyway. I think you've seen enough.